What are the various career options in marketing after MBA? This is the question which you have in your mind, and in this video I will be attempting to simplify it for you so that I can show you what is the entire spectrum of career trajectories which you will have after your MBA, with or without your MBA in this field. And from here I am sure that you will get a complete bird's eye view of what are the various ways in which you can achieve your goal of becoming something big in the field of marketing. Hi, I am Darpan Saxena, an MBA graduate from IIM Udaipur, and let's get on with the video. So often it happens that our understanding of what are the marketing roles available to us is limited to what we've heard from our seniors or what are the kind of placements which we have seen at our B school. So for example, when you enter a B school, you are very sure about what are the placements which happen there, or you see your seniors who get placed at various organizations. Hence, most likely your understanding of what are the various trajectories which you can have is going to be very restricted. And my objective is to give you that view of what are the various options, what are the various ways, so that you can find out that which are the ways which are more aligned to the kind of skills which you have, to the kind of interests which you have, and so that, one more very important thing, so that you can also understand that there is not so much competition, because you don't know that there are so many ways of reaching that objective. You often believe that, oh my god, there is so much of a competition. There is not. If you can identify what are the skills which you have, if you can identify what is your inclination and choose a path accordingly, all of you in fact will find whatever you want to find after your MBA in the field of marketing. So now let's start it off, wherein I'll be sharing with you 7 or 8 different trajectories in this field through which you can achieve your goal. But here I spoke about goal, and that is something which I always say to you, that you need to find out what is your goal. Now again, this video is about simplifying. I will be sharing very simplified perspectives on everything, and therefore I'll just hop onto my screen and I'll show you what I'm trying to explain you over here. So as you can see, the first thing is that you need to find out what is your goal. I'll just make it simple, that suppose you have a vague goal of becoming the top person in this field at any company, which means that you would want to be a CMO, or you could want to be a CEO, or a CBO, or a marketing director, or a partner, or a founder. It could be anything. What I'm trying to say is that among all of these roles, whatever aspirations you may have among all of these roles, what you need to understand is that marketing is a very major component in all of these roles. So for example, if you are a CEO, or even if you are the founder of a startup, a big responsibility of marketing and sales is upon you. Hence, in order to simplify it for all of these routes which I will be sharing with you, I will simply assume that you are aiming for a role of CMO, because each of the other roles has a big portion of a CMO in it, and therefore all of my future explanations about it will be with the objective that you want to become the CMO. So now let's start off with the most simplest and the most traditional route in this field which we know about, and all of the various routes which I'll be sharing with you are going to be in simple 5 steps. So what you can see over here is that one would start off as a marketing executive and would rise up the ranks to become the CMO, which is our assumed goal. Now what you also need to understand about this thing is that while I've shown each of these routes in 5 steps, they might not be just 5 steps. In fact, in most of the organizations, it won't be just 5 steps, and you'll be having certain more steps between any of the 2 steps. So what I'm just trying to share with you is that these are going to be the 5 big milestones where you will be having a considerable amount of work change. And also, so that you understand what each of these roles are, I have created this visualization for you, wherein I'm trying to show you that when you are a marketing executive, when you are at the lowest rung of the hierarchy, your operational work is a lot. However, when you grow, your operational work will go down. In the same way, initially the strategic aspect of your work, wherein you need to think strategically and you need to give your strategic inputs, is going to be fairly low. However, as you progress through each of these 5 stages, you will realize that your strategic part of the work is going to be a significant part and the operational work is going to be very low. So from this, you should also be able to understand that at what stage, what kind of skills you need to start to develop for yourself. But this video was about MBA and what is going to be your trajectory after MBA. Hence, what you need to understand is that in this entire journey, if you are an MBA, you could start off from the stage number 2, wherein you could start off from the role of a marketing manager. Or you could start off from further ahead of that, wherein probably you would be in a 1-year accelerated management trainee program, after which you would get uplifted to a slightly senior role. What I'm trying to show over here is that it also depends on the kind of B school which you have graduated from. So these are the 2 places wherein you would start off in this chain, wherein you would start off on this trajectory if you are an MBA. So from here, I hope you have understood that what is the most traditional route towards the goal which we know about. And now I will share with you certain more such traditional routes which are there, which are offered across B schools, which you need to know about. So another such role is that of product management, wherein again I have tried to simplify it in 5 steps, and I've shared with you that how would you enter this hierarchy in this path if you are an MBA. So for example, this particular trajectory is very close to me because I started off my pre-MBA job as a product executive. Then I went on to do my MBA, and after my MBA I joined as a product head. So this is the kind of space I was in, and this is also one of the routes which you can assume to the same goal, to become something big in the field of marketing. The third traditional route is a very common route which is floated across B schools, across various kinds of schools each year, which is the sales route. So for a lot of you who think that, hey, I am into sales and most likely I'll always remain in sales, and how will I get out and get into a proper core marketing role, then this portion is for you. You would start off as a sales executive. From there you would move on to an ASM sort of a role, and then you would accelerate to the higher stages. And at some point, so for example, even if you are a VP of sales, you surely have had a lot of interaction and experiences in also conducting the marketing aspect of it, and then you would become one of the biggest and the most strongest contenders to become the CMO. And here again I have highlighted that if you're an MBA, where are you expected to start off? So for example, a lot of organizations, when they recruit you from your MBA school, you are started off as a ASM, wherein you have a team of sales executives, or usually you would be in a 1-year accelerated program wherein you will be learning a lot of things across the organization, and then you would be assigned a good senior role either on the field or in the corporate. And if you finally understood that yes, there is hope for you if you are finding a sales role, do hit the like button on the video. It will help the YouTube algorithm understand that you like this, and I will keep on creating more such videos for you. Now I'll be sharing with you the 4th traditional route. However, what I would want to say to you is that you would have already understood that if I'm saying that these routes are the traditional routes, then most likely I have something in store for you which are not yet the mainstream routes. And in fact, wait till the end of the video wherein I'll be sharing with you one route which is going to be completely different, which is going to be something which you would not have imagined so frequently. And if that is something which you can completely understand, then it could change your life. It would make you forget that there is competition in your B school. Hence, stay tuned till the end of the video. So now the 4th route is a creative route. So if your skills are aligned more towards creativity, then this route is something which is going to be for you. And a lot of students who are MBAs or who aren't MBAs, they feel that okay, if suppose we don't do an MBA, we'll probably never be able to reach the heights. However, that is not completely true. Your journey is going to be, obviously, it's going to be far more stretched out if you are not an MBA. However, there is always a way, and this is the way in front of you. So for example, if you are a creative, if you are in the field of copywriting or something of that sort, then this is the trajectory for you. And after you do an MBA, the place where you'll enter this route is the step number 2. So for example, a lot of students from a B school like MICA might follow this route because it is more aligned to the kind of skills which they have. Now, I'm not trying to say that it is always going to happen with those kind of students, but no, I am saying that this is also one of the routes which you need to be mindful of, so that you know that, okay, yes, there is this route also. Because if you are somebody who's creative, then you need not really get worked up about it that, hey, I am pursuing a field of creativity, but then why am I being so creative? Because this creativity is not going to lead me anywhere in the corporate world. That is not true. And this route which you have in front of you, this route is a good example of that. Even if you are a creative human being, even if you have fairly developed skills in that area, you can cultivate those skills, give it shape, and using your MBA, you can find this kind of job route for yourself. So moving on from there, the 5th route is the ad agency route, which means you could be working for an ad agency either pre-MBA or even after your MBA. You could get placed in an ad agency and you could still find your way up to the top in the world of corporate. You can do that, and this is the route for you. So for example, if you're not an MBA, you would probably be working as an account executive, wherein you need to do all the operational work. However, if you get done with your MBA, you could enter this chain at the stage of an account manager or higher than that. Now from there, this is the progression which you could see from there. Now some of you may ask me that what exactly is an account? So an account for an ad agency is like a client. So your role is going to be interacting with the client, trying to understand their brief and then executing it with your team of account executives. So that is the kind of role. So even if the placements don't go in your favor and you might get placed at an ad agency, which MBAs, they do not really extremely enjoy that, even then you can find your way out of it and you can find your way towards your goal, which is to become something great in this field of marketing. Now from there, I would share with you some of the more interesting roles, some of the more new age roles which have started to appear at various B schools in the last few years, and these are the roles which you need to be very mindful of, and these are the roles which might excite you a lot. So let's get on with it and understand what these roles are. So the 6th route is the digital marketing route. And you would have been waiting up till now that, hey, why isn't he speaking about it? But here it is. And in this, I'm showing you only 4 steps right now, because the reason for that is because the first step in this route is not just one option. You have 3 different entry points in this field, and that is what makes it unique. What are these 3 or 4 entry points which you'll have in this trajectory? So the first one is that you could start off as an SEO executive. SEO is basically search engine optimization. So you could be somebody whose skills are aligned with SEO, search engine optimization, or you could be somebody who has worked in SEO pre-MBA. And this is the trajectory which you will have when you are chasing this kind of a role. Then from there, the second entry point could be that you are a paid ads executive. So for example, SEO is entirely organic, but then you could have experience in Facebook ads or such ad kind of work. So there, in that case, you would enter this chain as a paid executive and you would eventually rise up the chain. And the third route is that you could be a social media executive. So for example, in your pre-MBA job, you could be handling the social media for your organization. So the unique thing about this entire chain is that it has multiple entry points, and you could enter from whichever skill you are most aligned with, and you could still end up your goal. And again, what I'm saying to you is that all of this is a very simplified way of explaining this thought. You need to find it more as per the kind of organization and as per the kind of industry you work for, or the kind of industry you want to work for, because there, all of these names, it could be something else, but the entire essence of this route is going to be the same. And surely, as I had explained you earlier, that when you start off, your work is very operational, but eventually when you go ahead, when you move ahead, it will be more strategic and less operational work. And also, if you're an MBA, you would enter the stage 2. You would be hired at a stage 2, but there is a big difference in this role and any other role. And that thing is this thing, that in this role, you can only enter at stage 2 after your MBA. You can only enter at that stage if and only if you have the right hard skills for that job. So if you have no experience of SEO, if you have no experience of paid or any such thing, then even if you get into an MBA, you would be again most likely starting off from an executive role, or most likely an organization would not even hire you, because what they are expecting you to have is these kind of skills which are in front of you. So while this route is extremely exciting because it has 3 entry points, if you want to make something in this route, you need to have these skills, because they will not spend so much time in training you. They would want to hire somebody who is an expert and who's an MBA, so that those two things can combine and give them the output which they want. And from there, let me take you to the 7th route, which I call as a very new route, because it has started to show up in various MBA schools only 3 or 4 years ago. And this is the route of analytics, that how you could enter the corporate from an analytics role and rise up the chain to become something eminent in the field of marketing analytics. So again, this is one of those roles wherein you need to have very developed hard skills of analytics. If you have no experience, or if you have no hard skills in this field of analytics, then you are unlikely to be entering this route at all. And again, in this route, you would start off as a data analyst if you are not an MBA, but if you are an MBA, you could start off as a analytics manager for a particular team, and from there you would gradually move up the chain. A lot of my friends from IIM Udaipur, they are on this journey of analytics. So when we were in MBA, these were the students who either had experience in this field of analytics, or they had worked hard during their first year in MBA to acquire these skills of analytics. And then some of the best job offers which came to our B school were in this field, and they were able to start off at really high packages in this field. Hence, the very fact that it is a very newer field as compared to all of the others, you have a great chance. There is very less competition in here, especially at the B schools, because not everyone in a B school is interested to work on their hard skills. Hence, if you could be somebody who thinks that you could work on their hard skills, then this route is for you, and your hard skills will do the work for you. This is the route for you. And now I will take you to the final route, the 8th route, about which I wanted to share that how amazing that route is, how amazing that journey is. And that is one of the routes which I also chose for my own self. And if you are able to understand the idea, the essence of that route, your life is going to change, and you'll realize that there is going to be no competition at all. So let's get on with it, and I'll share with you the last route which I have for you, which is going to change the way you think about placements and your career after MBA. Now, this 8th route which I want to share with you is the route of entrepreneurship. Now, when we talk about entrepreneurship and startups, because it is still a fairly nascent idea in India at least, but yes, we are seeing a lot of impetus in this also. But the idea which we have about entrepreneurship in our life is this, that we start off with our school, we study in school obviously. From there we go on to do our undergraduation. From there we choose to do most likely our MBA, because you are an MBA who's watching this video. Once you are in your MBA, and especially because you are in your MBA, the first thing you would think about is the placements or the job. Because obviously you have entered your B school for the placements, and your entire focus in those 2 years of your MBA program has always been placements at that amazing job. However, a few years into the job, your aspiration of starting out, of becoming an entrepreneur, it catches fire, it ignites, and then probably from that job, you move on to entrepreneurship. This is the trajectory which we know of, and most of us MBAs are very comfortable in this because it makes complete sense. But the reality is that what I've shown you, this is absolutely wrong. This trajectory no longer makes any sense, and this is no longer true. Because the new trajectory which you need to be aware about looks something like this. That from any stage of your academic journey, you can start out, you can become an entrepreneur. In this day and age, even a school student with a good idea can start off. Even somebody who's in his or her engineering can start off. Somebody who's in your MBA can start off as a student. He need not even wait for a job. And certainly somebody who's in a job can obviously start up. The options are open like that. And once you know this, now that you have seen this image in front of you which I've created for you, you would realize that the barrier to entry in entrepreneurship is low, because only if you know that how to start off, about which I have shared in my free course called 5 Steps Ahead Blueprint, you must go for that course, because that is where I will open your mind towards this, that how you as an MBA student can start off a simple project in your MBA which could take the shape of a startup, and it could become something which you would depend on and build your entire life. Therefore, what you need to see over here is that if you have any kind of entrepreneurial aspirations, the time is now. It is a very viable option. It makes no sense for you to say that, okay, I am not yet good enough to do a startup because I need to have some industry experience at a job. No. If you have a good idea, if you have the ability to create a business plan around that idea, and if your plan makes complete sense, then you can, and in fact I would say that you should start off something. You could start it off as a small project without the intention to earn, and it could eventually take a greater shape and it could become something much bigger for you. So in fact, at this point, I would share with you that how this thing applies to me. So when I was in my MBA first year, I started my blog, Super Heuristics. And when I had started that blog, it was not out of the intention to earn from it. I had started it off as a project which will help me understand the various concepts and skills which I'm acquiring in the field of marketing. And from there, I would be able to improve my skills. However, as I consistently kept on working on that blog, it eventually became something much more important than just a lab where I would practice my skills. And now I'm able to work full time on Super Heuristics, and I'm able to enjoy a lifestyle of freedom wherein, yes, I do my share of hard work, very good solid hard work, and I have the satisfaction of creating something without the fear of competition. Hence, if you want to be in that space, this could be a route for you, and I would urge you that if this is something which you agree with, then you should go ahead for my free course called 5 Steps Ahead Blueprint. You would find the link to it in the description. And that will be the starting point of your journey to actually understand this idea that how it's not just about job and the placements, you also have other opportunities for yourself if you're an MBA student. So my objective in this video was to share with you what are the career outcomes which you can have in the field of marketing after MBA, and I've shared with you 8 different career journeys which you can have with or without your MBA. I hope you completely enjoyed watching this, and if you did, please subscribe so that I can keep on sharing much more similar things with you in the future. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.